So in case you haven't heard, LinkedIn is now the second most cited website in LLM responses. That means that the top two sources most frequently cited in LLM responses are Reddit, a community forum, and LinkedIn, a professional social media network. Upon hearing this, you might think that that's really weird or that it doesn't make sense, but it actually makes a lot of sense given the nature of both of these platforms. So let's break it down. Out the gate, both Reddit and LinkedIn have a really strong SEO strategy already in place. So, something that experts like us have long preached is that if you want to have success in LLM platforms, you need to have a good SEO strategy in place. While the way that you optimize for traditional search results isn't quite the same as AI search results, there's a lot of overlap and there's a lot of benefit of having an SEO strategy in place to help you perform better in an LLM. With Reddit and LinkedIn, they both have a strong SEO foundation. Long before AI was becoming a thing, or even before Google was using Reddit to train its AI, both of these platforms would show up in search results for specific queries. The other aspect of this is the freshness. LLMs love fresh content. They love to have the latest information that they can deliver to users. And when you look at a platform like Reddit or a platform like LinkedIn, the information is constantly fresh. People are continually creating new threads, adding new comments to threads, sharing newsletters, creating articles, all that sort of stuff is happening on both of these platforms. There is constant new, fresh content showing up all the time. So to an LLM, that's very juicy because it's looking for fresh information and now it's getting that fresh information from both of these platforms. And then lastly, there's the user generated aspect of both of these platforms. This one is kind of both good and bad in a lot of people's eyes. The good aspect is that Reddit and LinkedIn are both hubs for information. People, create a Reddit thread or, start a LinkedIn post and they're talking about topics that are relevant to their industry. And then they're also talking about really niche stuff, really niche topics that maybe companies don't have a blog post about. So if someone's asking about that topic on a platform like ChatGPT and there's no company with a blog post, where are they going to pull the information? Reddit or LinkedIn. Both of these platforms have that benefit of there are so many niche topics addressed on them. So naturally, that's a great way to earn citations is if you're one of the only places that has an answer to that person's query, then the odds are looking pretty good that you're going to get pulled and cited for that information. But the catch to that is that there is no verification of accuracy of that information. If you think about a place like LinkedIn, you do have the ability to add professional credentials and kind of establish yourself as like, hey, I'm an authority. But sometimes people will fake their credentials, create a bogus profile, share all this information, just trying to get a ton of shares, and they lie about, their level of qualification. And now all of a sudden they're getting cited, but maybe the information's not quite accurate. Same thing with Reddit. There's often a mix of people who are professionals that have worked in the field, but also enthusiastic amateurs, if you will. There's no real way, especially on Reddit, to distinguish who is who. There's no professional credentials like you could on LinkedIn. But again, as I said, people could lie about them. But with Reddit, it's just a username. And there's no way of knowing if that person is a 10-year seasoned veteran in the field or someone who just picked this hobby up like a week ago. That is the layer of complication that comes with Reddit and LinkedIn being so frequently cited in responses. So now you're probably wondering, Do I need to start building a Reddit and LinkedIn strategy? The answer is both yes and no. The biggest issue is that you don't want to dive into making a LinkedIn or Reddit strategy with the sole purpose of wanting to increase brand visibility. And that sounds silly, but hear me out. If you go into making a strategy like this and your whole goal is, well, Reddit and LinkedIn are being cited, so I need to start getting my brand in here. You're going to take a disingenuous approach to trying to get your brand cited in those platforms. Instead of focusing on being helpful and kind of being a resource within the community, you might get so stuck on promoting yourself that it will come off as disingenuous and it may actually turn people against your brand. You really have to think about what your approach is going to be in terms of how you can be helpful to your audience without pushing yourself. That's not to say that, you can't use your company's name in your Reddit username or anything like that, but you can't go into every forum where somebody's like, "Oh, I have this problem. How do I solve it?" And then you start pitching your software as the solution because that's really disingenuous. They know that you're just going for the sales pitch, you're not trying to be helpful. In a sense, you do want to start building up a little bit of brand visibility on these platforms, but you have to do it in a very methodical, well thought out approach. Same thing with LinkedIn. You can just use LinkedIn as your platform to share helpful information. You can create a newsletter and share the latest updates with something in your field. Or you can just create a long form post and talk about a buzzing topic within your field. And that opens up opportunities for you to earn citations if you're sharing that helpful information through those platforms. But above all, if you decide to start building your visibility on Reddit or decide to really lean into your LinkedIn page, just make sure that you're being really thoughtful and intentional with your approach and that you're putting your audience first and thinking about the information that they want rather than thinking of it as well, let me do this for LLMs. Let me take this approach so that I'll get cited. Because truthfully, when you create for your audience, the LLM citations will follow because it'll be content that is engaging, valuable, and helpful to your audience and will naturally earn you citations in those search results.